Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And a lot of you don't like these type of videos, but you saw the title of the video and you clicked on it. For those of you who do, if you guys will please click like down below to help offset the dislikes, I would greatly appreciate it. But one of the topics that's come up lately, people are like, hey Jason, how's the coaching going? You haven't really updated us. We don't know what's going on with it. How are things going with your clients? When are you opening new slots? These are great questions. So let me go ahead and put on my +5 hat of Speechcraft and let's talk about this. How is it going? It's going fantastic. It's going fantastic. And I'm getting ready to probably open up a couple of new slots. It's not going to be many. And I need to remind people there's not going to be a wait list because essentially what I do with my consultations, and no, I don't do free consultations. I put last time up what the minimum requirements are for you to get a consultation. In other words, I'm not setting up a consultation with someone who doesn't meet my requirements. They don't appear to be a good prospect for coaching, and not waste anybody's time and their money. Because the thing is, I do charge for a consultation because it takes an hour out of my time. It takes an hour out of your time. And again, it's kind of my troll deterrent. It's not going to cause people to waste my time because they're going to have to pay me up front before they get a consultation. And it puts an end to that stuff immediately. And most good coaches and most good personal trainers I know do that. They require that because they get harassed with nonsense. In fact, I know of one personal trainer who she was doing free consultations at one point, and one guy who just thought she was hot wanted to ask her out on a date. So he set up a consultation and wasted her time, her work time, for a consultation so that he could ask her out. And guess what? That didn't go too well with her. After that, she started charging for consultations. And I think that's fair, that's reasonable. So what I'm doing with that is I'm not going to set up wait lists because when slots open up, they open up. And that initial consultation is what I use to determine, number one, if we're a good fit, because there might be a small chance they get me in front of the camera and they say, wow, Jason's not what I thought he was like at all, because again, the way I'm perceived online versus how I really am when you deal with me one-on-one, it's going to be very, very different. That's just the reality of it. So there's that to factor in, but I have to make sure that person's a good fit and that they're going to be the sort of client I'm looking for, and then I use that information to start working on their stuff. Well, if I have to do a full consultation with someone, I've wasted an entire hour of my time for a consultation fee. For them to go on a wait list, I'm going to have to redo a whole nother consultation all over again if a slot opens up. So if someone's sitting on a wait list for 6 weeks, their life circumstances have changed, their lifts have changed, their different stuff has changed. So what I would say to people, if you want to get on a wait list later, there's not going to be a wait list. Do what a lot of my people did and have lifts ready to go. Start recording some of your lifts. Start taking notes of what's going on with your training so that if you think there's a chance there might be a slot that opens up, you're ready to go, and I'll take you as a serious person for the spot, because realistically, people who are not going to film their lifts are not even going to be considered. Like that's one of my deal breakers right there. A person who cannot film their own lifts at the gym and is unwilling to do so, they're not even going to be considered as a prospective client. You get in that consultation and you tell me you can't do that, then that's the end of it. That consultation's over. You're not going to get a spot as a client. So it's something that's required. I need to be able to see your lifts. I need to be able to do form checks because that is part of the coaching service. I need someone who can get in front of their webcam. You know, they've got to be able to have enough free time to get in front of the camera, because I don't do, hey, here's a program, run it for 12 weeks and get back to me. I update people's stuff, and my people who are dealing with it, they know that at this point. Your spreadsheets get updated all the time. Like if someone sends me feedback from a workout, just their feedback, and I don't like something or something changes, I will literally go change their spreadsheet that same day and send it back to them with the adjustments. And at the bare minimum, you're getting a new spreadsheet every 2 weeks. So it's nothing is said as, hey, here's a 12-week program, run with it, talk to me in 12 weeks. No, my people are getting updated weekly. At this point, it is weekly. I mean, long-term, probably 2 weeks, because I want people in front of a camera every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I want to get someone in front of me on Skype or something like that, and we do Skype calls, and I can assess what's going on with them. go over their form check videos again, look at everything, adjust their training programming, and that's how I do things. Now, people say, well, how's it going so far? My people are happy. All of my clients seem to be happy so far. And some certain things that I notice, even though I'm dealing with different demographics of people in different walks of life, obviously everybody who comes to me wants to get stronger, right? Every single one of my people want to get stronger. They all have their own limitations. Some of them have had their own medical issues. They all have their own weaknesses or different levels of strength. I mean, the levels of strength are very dramatically different. I have over 200 pounds difference in the current deadlifts between some of my current clients. There's pretty big difference there, right? When you have clients who are deadlifting 200, 250 pounds more than another client, yeah, that's a pretty significant difference. I have a pretty good sized age gap between them, different walks of life, access to different levels of equipment. Some of my clients are training in home gyms with, better or worse equipment than others. One of my guys is training at a awesome powerlifting gym. And when I say an awesome powerlifting gym, I'm talking has bands, chains, specialty bars, a reverse hyper, glued ham raises, a lift platform with band pegs and stuff on it. So I mean, it varies a lot. And so the thing is, all of them are happy so far. And the thing that I've noticed, they all have different needs. They all have different levels of need too in terms of coaching. Like with each one of these people, I have to have a slightly different style. Some of them need continual interaction. Like there's at least one client who I have to deal with every day. And I actually have two clients who are like that. They almost need feedback and back and forth on a daily basis a little bit, for 5 minutes every day. And that's fine because that's part of coaching. So they get feedback daily. They have questions. They want to know things. I have another guy who gets back with me once a week, sends me his form videos, any questions, I get an update him and he's good to go. So, the amount of care that each client needs is very different. As far as trends go, though, one of the trends I've noticed, all of my clients that come to me, some to a greater extent than others, they all need more upper back work. Now, some of them it is more dramatic than others, but that's one of the things so far that I can say. Every single one of my clients, I have actually increased the amount of pulling and stuff that they are doing for their upper back. And that seems to be interesting. That seems to be a fairly common weakness among all of my people to some extent. For some people, there's more mobility issues. For some people, they have weaker triceps. Some people, they have weaker hamstrings. These things vary. Some people have weaker triceps, but universally, there definitely seems to be an overall upper back weakness in people who are coming to me. And that's one of the first things I start fixing. And what I also think is interesting is that there's a lot of stuff that I discuss with training philosophies and training minimalism, but then when my clients are getting programs, they're like, wow, this is not minimalist at all. It's like, no, it's not. Because when you're dealing with one-on-one clienting, I can't throw large amounts of different volume at certain muscle groups and exercises at people as a general routine. It doesn't work well. Those are things that need to be reserved for various forms of weak point training and special programming. All right, so when I put out a cookie cutter program for a lot of you guys, it might seem relatively minimalist, and then you plug in accessories. Well, with my clients, we do a lot of accessories, and their weak points get a lot of work. And I think that's one of the things that it does shock a lot of my clients is that because for me, I have a history of even for intermediates, a fair amount of minimalism. Like, well, some of their stuff is minimalist till it comes to some of their accessory work. Their weak points are like, man, you got me doing like 5 sets of 10 every workout. I'm training this weak point 4 days a week. And some of you guys know who you are. You know which muscles I'm talking about. And it's not even always the same exercises. The exercises are different. Like even for additional posterior chain stuff. One of my guys does Romanian deadlifts and reverse hypers. One of my guys I have doing glute bridges. And those two guys, they don't overlap. They're in different places in their life. So a lot of what I have people doing for different assistance work, it varies a lot. But they all train variations of the big three because that's not optional, because that is your foundational lifts. They all squat, bench, and deadlift. No matter what their goals are, they all do all three of those, but it might be at different frequencies and volumes and programming. Not every one of my people are on the same sort of split. That varies based upon their individual needs. Some of my people are on full body 3 days a week. Most of my people, it's going to be more than half, are on upper lower 4-day programs. Some of my guys, including one of them, has sports specific training on a separate day from all of that because of things he competes in. So the thing is, this has all got to be custom tailored, and all my programming is custom tailored around their lives because some of them have different work schedules. You know what? If you have a work schedule and a person only has a certain amount of time they can be in the gym on some days and we still want to get a session in, we have to program around that. Their rest times have to be programmed around that. Right? It's all custom tailored based upon what my people need. And you know what? Thus far, everybody's been very, very happy with it. People are already paying again this coming month again. I mean, everything's going good. It's been a successful business. My people are happy. They're getting the results that they want. They're getting the level of service that they want. And that's kind of my point. I would much rather give these clients the service that they want and have that client for a year or 2 years than have to replace their slot with a new person and relearn a new person. So that's one reason that hopefully slots are going to open up slow. I'm only going to have so many at any given time because my goal is, if I'm given a choice between the two at a given pay rate, I would much rather keep a client I'm familiar with and keep pushing them forward than I would to replace them with a new person in that slot. And I'm not saying more slots are going to open. They are going to open over time as I get people comfortable, but introducing new people takes more work. There's more upfront work required in the first 2 weeks with a new client than there is for someone who's an existing client because you don't know that person yet. You don't know their needs. There's a lot of learning curve to be done. There's a lot to be determined what equipment they have available, their weaknesses, how they respond to training. So there's a lot more work on the front end with a new person. I would much rather give that person the best level of service that I possibly can, get them well established so that they are easier over time so that I can, again, run a successful business model with them and keep them long term because they get what they want out of it than to introduce new people. So hopefully there's not going to be a high turnover. So when slots open up, they open up based upon the time that I want to allocate to this. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's not the question of needing to market it. It's the question of, do I have enough time that I'm willing to allocate to new people, right? So it's just the supply and demand is on the supply side. Do I have spots available? The demand is already there. Do I have the resources available to give the product right now? And that's going to be time, stress, things like that. But I'm actually enjoying it so far. I'm really happy with this current group of clients. They seem to be happy. Everyone's getting what they want out of it, and I'll kind of keep people updated. But there will be probably 2 slots. I'm predicting 2 slots. I'm going to need to think on a little bit that will open up in the very near future, and I'll let you guys know how to apply for those. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.